that going. Okay, all right, so I got the recording all set up. So if you guys don't mind, just mute yourselves, and then if you have a question, use the chat, or I'll try to leave time for questions at the end as well. Okay, so let me pull up my notes. I actually made notes. Usually I'm not a note person, but Johanna did such a good job for my leaders. I was like, I need to make sure that I pour into her and her team the same way she's done an amazing job pouring into mine. So thank you so much for that. First, I want to say, and I also want to add, I think you guys have such a fantastic leader, and I know that you know that already, but I just want to say you're going to probably find that a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you, she already has shared with you as well. You're going to find that there's probably some duplication in what you hear from her and what you're going to hear from me today. You have an amazing leader who I know is always pouring into you guys, and I hope that you always remember that and appreciate her and value her as well, because you have a great resource in your upline as well. So just wanted to say that about her and how awesome that she is. Okay, so next, what I really have set up for you guys today is I sat down and thought, okay, so let's say that something were to happen to me and I would be like, literally, like say I'd be gone tomorrow, something happened to me, God forbid. What are like the things that I would like, what are the absolute must focus on most important things for my directors? Like, what would I want my directors to have imprinted on their mind and on their heart through me? You know, what are those like legacy things that I think are so important and so critical for them in their business? And so that was really where my mind was at when I created these notes. So they're not necessarily in a consecutive order of most important to least important, but they were as they came to me. Okay, so what I have looks like there's about 10 or 12. So if you need me to go back over one, please let me know. And some don't need much elaboration at all, and some I'll elaborate on a little bit. So, all right, so this is the most important piece of advice, and that is probably why it ended up being number one, because it's always the most important on my mind, and that's because it changed my business big time. And that is grow wide like your life depends on it, because it does. That is the most important piece of advice that I could give you, is grow wide. You need a wide front line. You need to consistently be recruiting, and you need to consistently be setting goals for yourself to keep growing your front line and taking your front line to the next level, growing that front line. It has to be a priority. And the reason why is, first and foremost, it's a numbers game. The more people you recruit, the more people you're going to find that are willing to work with you and are wanting to take their business to the next level. If you have a pool of 10 people to choose from, your odds are going to be a lot less than if you have a pool of 50 or a pool of 100. I mean, it's just common knowledge. It's a numbers game. So if you have more people to work with, your chances are that you're going to find more leaders and more like-minded people. The other thing is, as you grow your front line, you are going to create much more potential for you for wealth. Some of you might not be on here and you're really concerned about wealth. Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't really care about the money. But I think most of us, if we are honest, would say that we're here for a lot of the freedom that comes along with the money. So you can't really have that freedom without the finances. The Scentsy business has changed my life in such a dramatic way, monetarily, which has changed my life in a dramatic way in the form of freedom. And I cannot imagine what my business would look like had I not made growing my frontline wide a priority. I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on this. So early on in my business, if you know my story, I didn't want to recruit at all. Wanted nothing to do with growing a team. Absolutely nothing to do with it. And then my eyes were open to this business opportunity, and I decided to go for it and really give it 100%. And about a year and a half after that, I had a conversation with somebody in the business I really respected. And I asked him and his wife, I want to make 6 figures a year. I want to make at least $100,000 a year. What does that look like? And they laid it all out for me and told me it looks like this. And basically what they told me was anywhere from 10 to 12 paid generations of directors. So anywhere from 10 to 12 people in your organization that are directors that you're being paid on, and a minimum of 100 frontline. Those were the main 2 points that they addressed with me as to how to do that. So after that conversation, that was my focus. And at the time we had that conversation, my frontline was somewhere around 40 to 50. And I was overwhelmed at the thought of having a frontline of 100. And you guys might be thinking the same thing too. Like, what the hell? 100 frontline? She's on crack. No, guys, it's totally doable. It's just like any other goal in this business. You might be looking at the incentive trip right now and thinking, holy cow, I need 70,000 points to take my family to Disney World. And you look at that big number and it's like overwhelming and you think, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to do that. It's the same thing. You just got to take it one recruit at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time. And then you'll notice that if it's a consistent part of your conversations, of your lifestyle, you're always offering that kit, that earn a kit every single time you are doing all of those things that you know you need to do, you're going to notice that you are averaging a couple recruits a month. You know, some months you'll have none. Yeah, some months you'll have 6. So you're going to start noticing that you're averaging a couple recruits a month. And if you're doing things that you need to be doing to keep them, if you're focusing on retention and helping them set and achieve goals themselves, you're going to keep them. And before you know it, you're going to have 100 frontline. So I want you to, a lot of leaders don't even pay attention to how many frontline they have. Like, I hope that right now, if I ask you how many frontline you have, you know. You need to know how many frontline you have. And if you don't know, you need to know. It needs to be absolutely something that you're paying attention to. And part of your daily tracking, which we'll talk about too. So right now, if you have a frontline of 30, I want you to set a goal that by the end of the year, you have a frontline of at least 40 or 45. Set a goal for yourself by the end of the year where you want to be. And that's something that you just got to keep focusing on it and set that new bar, And before you know it, you will have that 100 frontline and you will see that income opportunity increase. And why I say that is because the wider you are, the more opportunity you have for depth. So many leaders get blocked and their income is slashed because they are not wide. And all they're doing is growing deep, meaning they don't have a wide front line. They have a narrow front line. And those people are being successful and building other directors, and they're getting deep. And they have 0.6, 6th generation directors, 7th generation directors, and you don't get paid on them. We are capped on how deep we are paid. We are not capped on how wide we are paid. I get chills when I talk about this because a lot of people don't understand that. And that is a critical part of building wealth in your business. The wider you are, the more opportunities you have to create depth. I have 11 first generation directors right now, and I'm about to promote a 12th. And I have about 30 or 32 directors total. So I'm not sitting here telling you guys something that just sounds good. I'm telling you guys something that I'm living out myself. I was told what it looked like. I was told how to build that kind of income. And that's exactly what I have done. And that is exactly what my results are. So I'm laying it out there for you. All of it, that is the most important piece of advice I can give you. Grow wide. Okay, the next thing I have is track your numbers daily. Who is tracking their numbers daily? Raise your hand. Okay, good. I love it. I see a lot of hands. Track your numbers daily, in your planner, in your phone, whatever you want to do. I use, I like the Scentsy one that they created. Here's mine in my planner. I like the Scentsy one. Wendy Newgas did this where she made it fit into the Happy Planner. So if you go to YouTube and you search Wendy Newgas, I'm sure you guys know who she is. She's an amazing superstar director. Today's actually her birthday. She has one for the large and the classic Happy Planner. So that's the one that I print and use. I personally really like that one because I'm a large Happy Planner girl. So I track that every single day. And it, of course, has a place to track your new frontline, your new recruits, your active frontline, all of those things. Because just as important as knowing how many frontline you have is important to know how many of them are active. If you've got 100 frontline, but only 10% are active, that's not really so great. My goal is 50% active. Every single month, I want to see a minimum of 50 active. That is my goal. And right now I'm at 38. So I'm a little shy of my goal, but the month's not over yet, so we will see. Of course, I'm connecting with them through Amy and different things like that to encourage and mentor them. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get to my 50 this month because I have about 112 frontline right now, somewhere around there, 112, 113. Okay, so track your numbers daily. Find like-minded accountability buddies, people that are in your tribe. Okay, so a lot of leaders think that their upline should be their tribe. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true. Your upline is awesome. And she is your mentor and your coach and your cheerleader. And she's all of those things, but she is not your accountability buddy. And the reason I say that is because you want an accountability buddy who is like literally exactly where you are or very, very close to where you are. You want somebody who has a very similar business to you. That is one of the things I did fairly early on in my business, and I'm so grateful that I did, because that tribe of women that I worked together with, like we're all superstar directors now, and we called ourselves the next generation, and that's because that was our goal. Our focus was to create that next generation of up and coming superstar directors, and so together we worked towards that title. So I really want to encourage you to look for like-minded people to be your accountability buddies. Yes, you want to work with people that are pushing you to be better, to do better. But I don't think that it should be somebody whose title's ahead of you or their business looks totally different than you. If you've got a team of 50 and they've got a team of 500, like that's really a challenging accountability buddy, in my opinion. So utilize some of these groups that you're in, these Scentsy groups that you're in. Utilize your other director peers in your family of teams here, and find like-minded people to work alongside with, to challenge one another, not to allow excuses and whining and complaining, but to challenge one another, to encourage one another. It has absolutely been a very critical part of my success. Okay. Do not compare yourself to other people. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is yourself. And that's one of the reasons I track my numbers every single day. That's one of the reasons why I do a SWOT analysis, which is what we're going to talk about next. Do not compare yourself. And I know it's easier said than done, but guys, this is something that we are really bad at, especially as women in this business specifically. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I have been, beating myself up over the years because of different things. You will never, ever win the comparison game. Ever. There will always be somebody who's doing it better, who's doing it faster, who's doing it more flawlessly, or who looks prettier while they do it. Like, there's always going to be somebody doing it better. So just get out of the damn race. It's not a race. It's not. Get out of it, get over it, stop it. So I really want you to be mindful of this and really pay attention to your thoughts. And anytime you're looking through your Instagram stories, or you're looking through your, news feed, and you're seeing things that make you feel like crap about yourself, slap yourself. Do something to say, no, ma'am, no, 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 I'm not doing that. I'm not playing that game. It's really easy to do. There are people that have come into this business way after me who have way bigger groups than me, making way more money than me. It's just inevitable. There's always going to be somebody that is going to make you feel like garbage about your business or your own level of success. So find those moments when you're having those thoughts and really work on taking those thoughts captive and replacing those thoughts with positive affirmations about things that you have done. And say, you know what? Yeah, she's doing this, but I've done this and I'm proud of that. Let that be your new narrative, and stop letting other people's success be what's making you feel badly about yourself and that narrative, because that narrative is not going to bring you about success. Okay, so the next thing is do a SWOT analysis quarterly, or at least with each catalog season. What's a SWOT analysis? It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is something that Orville encouraged us to do at my very first summit, and it's something that has stuck with me and I've continued to do ever since. Because we oftentimes will think critically about ourselves or our business. And when I say think critically, I mean, I suck at this, or I haven't had a recruit in a long time, or I'm not doing this right. That's what I mean when I say we think critically, not like analytically. We'll think critically and harshly about our business, but we never think about it in a constructive way, in a way that is, how can I improve in this? So I really want you to quarterly, or at least with each catalog season, sit down and look at your business, log into your workstation, look at your numbers, think about your activities and your actions over the last 6 months or over the last quarter, and really look at these things. What are my strengths? What are the strengths of my team? What are the strengths of my personal business? What are the weaknesses in my team? What are the weaknesses of my personal business? What are my opportunities? Where do I see opportunities for growth for me and opportunities for growth for my team? What are the threats to my business? What am I identifying as the threats to my business and the threats to my team? That's something that you need to really pay attention to, and use that as a jumping off point for that next season of your development, your personal development, your business development. Okay, so right now, if you're looking at your personal business and you're like, okay, so I know my weakness is PRV. Okay, that needs to be your number one focus for your development. How can I develop my PRV? Watch some training videos. Talk to some people in your team or your upline that you know are killing it with PRV. Ask them for some tips and some advice, and find through that, find the nuggets for you and start implementing them. And I know you guys are leaders, so I'm sure you don't do this, but don't be that person that says, oh, I tried that, it didn't work for me. Didn't work for me. Okay, well, you tried it 6 months ago, and you tried it for like 6 days? No, friends. Like, you got to try something for at least 90 days and then come back to me and tell me it didn't work for you. You got to try something consistently for at least 90 days before you have the right to say it didn't work. It's a fact. There is a 90-day cycle in this business. 90 days. So if you haven't even started implementing that and been implementing that for 90 days, how are you going to come at me and tell me it doesn't work? No. After 90 days, if you're not seeing results, then try something different. Don't just give up and say, oh, well, I'm just going to keep living in the land of sucky PRV, because that didn't work. No, you got to find something different. You got to be flexible. All right. So next, focus on your 5. Focus on your 5 plus, I guess we could say. Focus on your 5 plus. So when I say focus on your 5, some of you might already know what I mean by that. But when I say focus on your 5, I mean your 5 stars. Being a director who is consistently paid at title, one simple way that I like to look at it is that you have 5-star consultants who are consistently paid at title. If you have 5-star consultants in your team, you are not going to have any problem getting paid as a director, because those 5-star consultants are going to create your GWV that you need right there. So I want you to always have a goal of having 5-star consultants, whether they're your frontline or not, because we all know that doesn't matter, because a first-generation director could be your frontline or it could be your 0.6. As long as there's not a director in between you and them, they're your first-generation director. They don't have to be your frontline. So it doesn't matter if that person is under, an unmotivated accidental lead consultant, or if they are an intentional lead consultant or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, find your 5 in your team. Find your 5 people that you're going to build to star consultant and beyond, right? But that is a solid place to create that consistency in your business and create a strong, healthy foundation for director and beyond. Okay, so focus on finding your 5 and more. All right, be willing to work hard and sacrifice. This is something that people don't like to talk about, I feel like, but it is the facts. It's the truth, okay? I have been in this business for 10 years. 10 years. It was 10 years in May. The way I work my business today is not the way I worked my business 5 years ago or 8 years ago. It has evolved and it looks different, because getting to superstar director, and if you're paid at title, the income that comes with superstar director allows you more freedom to work your business in the ways that you want, and work your business in a way that isn't quite as exhausting, if you will. I'm still exhausted a lot of days, but I'm not working the way I used to have to work, okay? There was a season of my business where every weekend I was like, party Friday night, event Saturday, home party Sunday afternoon. Like, there were many years that I worked my business that hard. There were many years that I worked my business to where every weekend I was working. Every weekend I had Scentsy stuff going on because I was doing vendor events. I was doing parties. That was how I was building my business. And so there were a couple years of my business where I hustled really freaking hard and I sacrificed. Why are we so afraid to sacrifice? Why do we think that we should build this empire, this successful career, and never have had to sacrifice for it? I feel like that's a very common thread in Scentsy, is that everybody's like, oh, you can work how you want to work. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not hard. That doesn't mean that you're not busting your butt doing it, right? Like, don't be afraid of hard work, because the results that come from those short-term sacrifices is long-term success. I would not be where I am today if I didn't work as hard as I did. Yes, I chose to do vendor events. Yes, I chose to do home parties. And you don't have to choose to do those, especially right now with COVID going on. But whatever your PRV pursuits are going to be, understand, and your recruiting pursuits are going to be, understand that your short-term sacrifices are important for your long-term success, and you need to be willing to make sacrifices. You are not going to build a big career in this business without sacrifice. There's no leader on this planet that, if they were honest, is going to tell you that. Would you agree? Yeah. Yes, she's shaking her head, yes. So I know it's not really something people like to hear or like to talk about, but just know that your short term, because it is short term. I mean, I say this to my team all the time. Think about college. I'm not going to say college is a scam. It's not a scam. But to me, people treat our business like our business is a scam. And that infuriates me, because I think many other forms of business are scams, if you really think about it. Think about from this perspective. Okay, so let's say that you want to be a teacher. You go to school for 4 years to become a teacher. So for 4 years, You are going to school full time, probably, working a job outside of that as well to try to make ends meet while you're in school. Is that not 4 years of sacrifice? Wouldn't that be considered 4 years of sacrifice and hard work? Okay, so then you graduate after the 4 years of sacrifice and hard work. You graduate, you hope that you get a good job with coworkers that you can handle and a boss that you can stand, and you get paid, which your pay is determined by somebody else, and you have your college debt most likely that you still have to pay off. How is that better than sacrificing that same level of sacrifice for 4 years? Imagine if you put that same level of sacrifice that you invested for your 4 year career going to college. Imagine if that same level of effort and sacrifice you put into your Scentsy business for 4 years, where you'd be in 4 years. You certainly wouldn't be graduating with debt. You certainly wouldn't be looking to someone else to hire you and determine your pay. No, my friends, you will be determining your own pay. You will be getting paid the whole time you're in college, right? And you will be earning trips, because guess what? If you're doing your work, you're going to be earning a trip. It's just, to me, it's like, how is this not a legitimate way? How is this not a legitimate career? How do so many people mock it? It's like, I can't wrap my head around it. So I say all that to say, be willing to sacrifice and work hard. Other people will go to college and go into debt to sacrifice and work hard for a few years. Why are you not willing to sacrifice and work hard for a couple years or a few years, however long it takes you to get to where you want to go with your Scentsy business? I can't understand why people wouldn't be willing to do that. So that's what I want to say about that. Pursue dream team people, not just the easy recruits. Guys, we all have those recruits that just come naturally, come easy. They text you, oh, hey, I've been considering starting a Scentsy business. That's great. Bring them on. But what about the dream team people? We so often look at our teams and think, where are the motivated people? It's just a bunch of casual hobbyists. Well, are you pursuing rock stars? Or are you just taking those easy recruits? The hostesses that you can easily flip, the people that come to you wanting the business opportunity. Are you seeking people that you know in your gut? We all have that gut feeling. Are you seeking people that you know in your gut? Man, they'd be good at this. I would love to have them on my team. Are you seeking people that are successful in other areas of their life and their career? Maybe that friend of yours that is a teacher or an attorney or whatever doesn't really love what she's doing and just wants to be home with her kids instead. You just never know what people are really thinking. So stop letting your fear and your assumptions prevent you from asking people that are on your dream team list to join your team. Hang on, let me go grab Callahan. Pause, I'll be right back.
I love that she paused to go get her son, by the way. Like, that is so powerful.
Harley, get out. Is Daisy in here too? No? Okay. Okay, we're back. Oh. I'm gonna grab him some things to be nice and instructive with. Hello, everybody. We're back. Say hi, I'm Callahan.
I love that you did that, by the way. And I love that you have a playpen in your office. That's a great idea.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. I I try to make sure to kind of do a balance every day of, you know, obviously me playing hands-on with him and making sure that he can, you know, play solo too. Oh, it's going to be so nice for your ears and for the recording. I apologize. Okay, this one's a little quieter, but you probably won't want that one, huh? Okay, so where was I at? Pursue your dream team, people. Yes, not just the easy recruits. All right, next is have a VIP program. So for me, this is something that I had seen other leaders, you know, other consultants doing, and I thought about it for a while. I really did. I thought about it for a while. I was like, just seems like a lot of work, all the mailings and all that stuff. I'm like, ugh. But I finally decided to bite the bullet about 2 years ago. And I cannot tell you how much growth I have gotten as a result of that in my PRV every single month. And my PWS orders and my Cincy Club orders, it's all really just gone through the roof. And for me, it's really ideal because I can do all of that from home and be home with him. I'm not having to go out and do parties and stuff like that. So like every month, I easily have between 2,000 and 3,000 in PRV. And all of that is from website orders and Cincy Club. All of it. It's not parties. It's not events. It's none of it. It's all website orders and parties. So every single month I do my VIP program, and it works like this. The very first month that they order, they get a cent circle. That's it. I don't do tiered prizes. Like it's not like, oh, you spent $50 so you get this, and you spent $20 so you get this. Everybody gets the same. Everybody gets a cent circle. So that way I can just send it in a regular envelope. So everybody gets a cent circle with their first order. And if they place an order every single month, like Cincy Club people, they get a cent circle every single month. So when I say their first order, I don't mean their first order ever and then they never get another one. I mean with their, when they order, they get a gift. So their very first month, they would receive this rack card. And the reason I print them on a rack card is because they'll fit in a regular envelope. So I don't want to do postcards because they won't fit in that. So all of this will be just, you know, one stamp. So this is actually my final month. This is not the first one. Hold on, let me pull the first one. Ooh, you're gonna like that, huh? Ooh, paper. Okay, so this is the first month one, and it just says, yay, your monthly VIP mail is here. As a thank you for your business, each month you'll be receiving a free sample of our brand new scent of the month, making you one of the very first to smell this new fragrance. Enjoy this VIP treatment every month for 3 months after each purchase made with me. And then I just have like a love brag tag message here. And then my information. So when they become a VIP, they will get my VIP mail for 3 consecutive months following their initial order. On their 3rd month, they get this rack card that says, this is your final month. You're gonna not be a VIP anymore. You need to place an order if you wanna stay a VIP. And here's how I worded it. At the top, it says, this is your final month for VIP mail. I know you've loved being a VIP. Who doesn't love trying new products before anyone else? Running low on wax, oils, pods, scent circles, laundry, or cleaning products? Be sure to place an order this month to continue receiving your free sample every month for 3 months. So that's how I work my program. And this month I have 96 VIPs. So I had to send out 96 packets. And this month is more expensive because I'm sending them all catalogs because of the new catalog coming out. So it's more expensive on a new catalog month. I'm spending $3 a person. So that adds up. However, I'm not just sending catalogs to randoms. I'm sending catalogs to proven purchasers. So I'm okay with spending that kind of money because I know these are proven buyers. I'm okay with spending, 50 cents a month on each one, because that's what it normally costs, is 50 cents a month. Because I do stamps.com, so it's reduced postage, but I'm okay with spending 50 cents a month per person because I know these are proven buyers. and I'm not wasting my time just saying, hey, who wants a sample? And then getting hit up with every Tom, Dick, and Harry who just wants a free sample and it wasting my time. Okay, so that's how I run my VIP program. I would strongly encourage you to try it. And again, if you're going to try it for 90 days, give it 3 months and see what kind of results you're getting, because it has been huge for me. And I don't know about you, but I love being able to get PRV from something like this versus physically going out somewhere and doing something versus, you know, an online party or this or that. Not that I don't do those, because I'm doing an online party as we speak. But then those are just gravy. Those are just extra. You know what I mean? Oh, you're so violent, Callahan. Oh my goodness. So violent. So anyway, so the next one is make Scentsy Club a priority for you and your teams. Too many consultants, too many leaders are not taking Scentsy Club seriously and are not marketing it enough. It is a huge, huge deal. Usually my Scentsy Club orders, because you know they vary month to month, but usually my Scentsy Club orders are anywhere from a minimum of 500 of my PRV up to 1,000. You as a leader have got to be getting your 500 PRV every single month. Like there's no, I'm not trying to be rude, but there's no excuse not to, especially with things like Scentsy Club. You should be making it a priority that every month your PRV minimum 500 comes from club. You don't have to think about it then. Like, yep, my 500 PRV is coming from club. I know it's coming because I've been working, I've been sharing club, I've been building my subscriptions, and guess what? I know I'm going to have my 500 in because I got club. Like, it shouldn't even be a question because of that. And you need to teach your rising leaders to do the same. And you need to teach your teams to do the same with a focus on being active because of Scentsy Club. All right, so Scentsy Club. Next is be teachable. A lot of times people get to a certain point in their business and they think that they're good. They think that the way they're doing things is good, and they a lot of times don't even realize that they're not teachable, but they sort of get stuck in a rut, stuck in their own routine, stuck in their ways, and think that they're good. So I just really want to encourage you. It's a very simple statement. Be teachable and really look at yourself and ask yourself consistently, am I truly being teachable? Am I growing? Am I pursuing growth personally and professionally? Do I have a teachable spirit? It's really, really important. Very, very important. Okay, so next, develop tough skin. Okay, so this one, this is so important and people don't talk about it enough, but sometimes being a leader is really hard, and it is very much a servant position. Sometimes people are just nasty. Sometimes people are unappreciative, and sometimes people are mean. Okay, so you as a leader, you need to know that. And I'm not trying to like make it sound like it's a bad gig. It's not a bad gig, you know, because for every 10 unappreciative people, then one person will come along who says like the sweetest thing, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes it all better, you know. Like, but there are going to be people on your teams that you wish were not on your teams. There are going to be people that you got to work with that you wish you didn't have to work with. And there are going to be people that you have to deal with that are offensive and mean. And it's really important that you develop tough skin and that you work on understanding that you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea in your team. Not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody's going to love your teaching style. And that's okay. So I really want to add that for your heart. It's important for your heart, because I have been hurt a lot over the years, a lot. And I wish I would have been better at that. And so I just really want to share that from my heart to your heart. Protect your heart. Expect those things. It kind of helps make it a little easier when they happen, to expect that. And yeah, just know that it's a part of the business, unfortunately, and it's not you. It's not you. It's gonna happen, but it's not you. It's a natural thing. Okay. So next is learn to rest, not quit. I see it a lot in leaders, directors and above. They just quit. They just fizzle out. Just, I don't know. I don't know what happens specifically, but I see it happen a lot at the director title. Too many people quit and don't rest. Too many people realize too late that they need rest, and so they quit. You have got to rest just as much and just as important as it is me telling you that you've got to hustle and you've got to be willing to sacrifice. You also have to be willing to rest. And that is also something that I personally was terrible at. I was terrible at making time to rest. Fortunately, I never let myself quit, but a lot of people do that. A lot of people get past the point of rest and to where they're just like, they see their business as a source of negativity and they just want away from their business. I really think that that's what is happening to a lot of people because they don't learn to rest. So make sure that you are making your rest, your self-care a priority. Listen to Olaf. Make your rest, make your self-care a priority, guys. It's so important. Okay, delegate what you can. There are certain things that are going to need your touch. There are certain things that you're going to want to be involved in, coaching your new team members, things like that. But there are things that you can delegate. Throughout different seasons of my business, hello. Throughout different seasons of my business, I've had assistants, and I don't have an assistant right now because she had a baby. So she's taking a little break. And so I'm just rolling with it and working hard and making it happen. But I fought having an assistant for a long time because I thought that sounds so bougie and expensive and I'm not there yet. Your time as a director and above is everybody's time is valuable, but your time as a leader is incredibly valuable because you have to make time for your own personal business. So you got to make time to be the player. You got to be on the field playing the game. You got to make time to be the coach. You got to coach your team members, and you got to make time to be the cheerleader. You wear a lot of hats. Your time is incredibly valuable. So doing things like crinkle cutting samples, pouring wax mold samples, folding brochures, labeling brochures, things like that are not CEO tasks, because you are a CEO, right? Things that are not like CEO tasks that really don't need your touch, delegate if you can delegate. If you have a teenager or an elementary age person at home who can do those things, delegate that crap. Pay them $10 or whatever you got to pay them to do it. It's worth it. But make sure that you're spending that time that you are now being rewarded by delegating on something very important, on something income producing, on something that is a true CEO task. Don't just have somebody label your bars for your order and then you go and troll Facebook. Use the time wisely if you're going to invest in delegating it to someone. Another person to think about too, like as you're considering delegating things, is think about one of your best customers. Maybe they'd like a little side cash or something. You know, I pay my assistants $10 an hour, and that's not because they're not worth more than that. It's because the tasks aren't worth more than that. Like, I'm not going to pay somebody $20 an hour to label brochures. It's very simple tasks that a lot of people could easily do. And some people, gosh, even if you hire some neighbor's teenager down the street, you could probably pay them in Sensi. You never know until you offer, until you ask. So I really want you to start thinking about your time. Think about yourself as the CEO of your business that you are, and consider delegating those non-CEO tasks to help free up your time for CEO tasks. Okay, next is use systems. Systems, you're going to hear it all the time from leaders all across the board. Use systems, whether it's Amy or Maven or whatever you want to call it now, whether it's systems in your planner, whether it's, whatever the systems are that you want to use systems. Stop fighting it if you are fighting it. I fought using systems for a long time, and I struggled to find systems that worked for me. And now I have my systems in place, and it is so much easier and so much better. I've got my VIP spreadsheet on Google Sheets, so I can pull it up anywhere I go. I have my coaching call forms on my Google Drive, so I can pull that up anywhere I go. I have my systems, and it makes my life so much easier. So find the time to pursue knowledge on different systems where you need it. That's where your SWOT analysis kind of comes into play. Maybe that's something that you see as a weakness in your business, is you need a system for your follow-up, or you need a system for your potential recruits, or you need a system for your team management, or whatever. And then invest some time to learning some different ways different systems that other leaders are using to do that, and find the system that works for you, meaning you're going to consistently do it. Because if you're not going to consistently do it, then just burn it, because there's no point. No point having that notebook sit there if you're not even going to use it. So you got to find a system that's going to work for you. Otherwise, you're completely wasting your time and your energy, even creating it. So you know yourself well, and you know what, if you're a computer person, if you're a pen and paper person. So don't even try to do something pen and paper if you know you are more of a technology person. Don't even waste your time. So that's my one point on using systems. I've got two more. Reward and recognize what you want repeated. This is another one that I say a ton, and that is because it's just gold. And I'm not saying, I came up with it. It's my concept. It's not. But it is a golden concept. Like, you have got to reward. You silly. You've got to reward and recognize the behaviors that you want repeated, guys, with your customers and with your team. Reward and recognize what you want repeated. But you get to decide how you're rewarding and how you're recognizing. You don't have to do it exactly like your upline. You don't have to do it exactly like your sponsor. You don't have to do it exactly like me, but you got to do it. Just like I'm telling you the results from rewarding and recognizing my PWS and my Sensi Club people is working. When you reward and you recognize things that you want people to continue to do, they will continue to do it. So this, again, is team as well. Reward and recognize what you want repeated. Maybe you don't want to take on fun mail every month. You don't have to. Send out text messages or do social media recognition. You've got to recognize these things. Otherwise, you're not going to see them being repeated. A simple thing can be so well received. Like, for example, you might have seen on like Instagram stories and stuff, a lot of leaders are actually like doing these emails nowadays where like once a week they send an email and say, hey, you're in our weekly top 50, or you're in our weekly top 10, or whatever it may be. And that's something that I do as well. It's an email that takes me 3 minutes, and I do it from my workstation, and it gets crazy awesome responses. People will post it on Facebook and tag me. People will email me back and thank me. It doesn't have to be time consuming. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be free, but reward and recognize those things you want people doing. So think about it. I want you to make a list. What are the behaviors that you want repeated from your team? Do you want them getting active? Cool. You want them getting active every month? Cool. Write that on the list. Do you want your leaders getting paid at title? Cool. Put that on the list. What are the things that you want to see repeated in your team? What are the things that you want to see repeated with your customers? Make a list for each. And then next to each, decide, how am I going to reward this and recognize this? How am I going to reward or recognize this? How am I going to reward or recognize that? And then that's how you move forward. There's your game plan. Okay, these are the behaviors that I want to reward, and here's how I'm going to reward them. And then just one at a time, start working on implementing those things into your business. It's a critical step to creating some consistency in your teams and consistency in your own personal business as well. Okay, so my last note here for you guys is nurture leadership. And when I say nurture leadership, what I mean is you're creating a culture in your own team of people who want to be leaders, people who want to do what you are doing. Okay, this is so important. If people look at what you're doing as something that it looks stressful, unpleasant, why the heck would they want to do it? If it looks like a bunch of work, if it looks like it's really, really expensive, like that's where it can be, it's a great thing to give gifts, but it can also be a risky thing. If you are spending, I don't even want to say an amount of money, because it's not about an amount of money. But if every single month you're sending a bunch of gifts to everybody in your whole team who are active, if you have a team of 10, okay, cool, you can do that now. But what about when you have a team of 1,000 and you have 400 people who are active? Are you going to send a gift, even if that gift costs 50 cents? Are you going to send a gift to 400 people because they were active? No, you're not. You're not going to be able to do that. So my point is, your team is looking to you and they see you doing this stuff and they think, oh, I can't afford that, or I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't want to be a leader. Stuff can turn people off that you would never intend to turn people off. So think about what you're doing and what you are showing as being a leader. Are you nurturing the concept of leadership? Are you presenting something that other people are going to want to do and other people are going to want to be a part of? It's a very important thing to think about. Other ways that you're actually nurturing leadership would be identifying people that are up and coming leaders and putting them in a position of leadership, even if it's like a temporary thing. Like, for example, every single month I do a monthly featured consultant. We call it the consultant of the month or the consultant spotlight. I kind of use both terms. Back in the day, Scentsy used to do a consultant spotlight every month and I loved it. They don't do it anymore. Probably because people complained that it was favoritism or something, God only knows. But anyway, they used to do a consultant spotlight every month and it was awesome. So I do that in my own team. It is always a lead consultant or above. And so basically what I do is I contact them and say, hey, I'd like to feature you as our consultant of the month in July. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's so awesome. So what that means is, and they know what it means because they see it every single month, they go live in my team page. They choose a date and a time that works for them in their schedule. It can be whenever the heck they want. It could be 2 a.m. if that's what they wanted. I don't care. I make it convenient for them. Other people can watch the playback. So they pick a date and time, and we, of course, announce that and promote that, where they're going to go live. And during their live, they answer 5 questions that I give them prior to the call so they can prepare and make notes, which for me, I know will help make sure that it stays on topic and that it is beneficial. But it's also an opportunity for them to showcase their strengths and get their feet wet as a leader and put them in the leadership light, if you will. And it allows them to see what that's like. And for most of them, it's a really, for all of them, it's been a very positive experience that helps encourage and nurture their leadership. So the 5 questions I asked them, in case you're wondering, I'm going to pull it up because I don't want to tell you wrong. Another example would be like director for a day. So let's say that you're going on vacation, or you're going on a Scentsy trip, or you just have a busy day. Like maybe you work a full-time job or a part-time job and you want to once a week on a day that you know is like a really crazy day for you. You know, you got job and then you have tons of kids activities at the end of the day or something. You know, you just know it's a crazy day. Once a week you could have somebody be a different director for the day and fill in for the day and do those kind of director duties like making posts. People love being asked to be director for a day. All right, so here are my 5 questions. Number 1, why you joined, if it's changed, and what is your new why? Number 2, what you love most about being a Scentsy consultant. Number 3, something you wish you'd known sooner in your Scentsy career. Number 4, what is an obstacle you have overcome in your career? It's actually 6 questions. Number 5, what is your best PRV tip? And number 6, what is your best sponsoring tip? So why you joined, if it's changed, what you love about being a consultant, something you wish you'd known sooner in your career, what's an obstacle you have overcome in your career, best PRV tip, best sponsoring tip. So in advance, I give them this list of questions right off the jump. I make them a cool graphic to announce them in the team page as our consultant spotlight, have their picture on there, the date and time, and promote the heck out of it. And it's a way to honor them. Also, it's a way to show a lot of diversity of people who are leaders, and yeah, it works really, really well. So that's just an example of how I nurture leadership in my team. But yeah, so those are my tips that I have for you guys, of just really my heart, my brain, the things that I have found to be really the most important and the most critical things to build a solid business from director and beyond. So you guys can unmute if you want to unmute, pull up the chat.
I just want to say thank you, Katie. Like, seriously, I know when we first talked about this, you had committed to a half an hour, and here we are going on an hour here. So thank you
I'm
so much for
long-winded.
that.
Sorry it took so long.
No, we love that you spent so much time pouring into us. We really appreciate that. So I wanted to start with that, and then I will let anybody else ask questions they may have.
I have a question. What are your tips as far as retention for your frontline? I know like the things that I am doing, but I'd love to pick your brain a little bit on that.
So I think that retention starts from the very beginning. So I'm not saying you're wasting your time with existing consultants. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that like true, solid retention success starts at the beginning. So like when I get a new recruit, I'm really, for lack of a better term, I'm like up their button around the corner. Like I am like on them when I get a new recruit. We work very, very closely when someone comes into the business. And when I'm working with them, we set short-term goals. And I think that's very important. I found that once somebody joins, they typically don't know what A, they're capable of, and B, what is possible with the business. And so I really see that it's my job to show them that, to show them, to help them see, I should say, what they're capable of, and to show them what is possible with this business. So like when someone first joins, I ask them, what do you want to do with your very first paycheck? Let's dream a little. Let's talk about something that would make you excited to do with your first paycheck. And so I challenge them to come up with something that they want to do because of their first Sensi check. And that's a very powerful thing. I've really seen very positive results come from that, because sometimes people dream way too big when they first join, and they're thinking only, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes when people first join, they're only thinking big picture and they're not thinking like smaller term right now. And so I think that it's very, very important to help them set a small, quickly attainable goal. Once they have achieved that goal, then we move on to a next goal and a next goal. And really their first 70 days, we are working on setting goals and achieving goals. So I would say that is my first tip. Really work closely with your new recruits. Do not allow your new recruit to run the show. Too many consultants allow their new recruit to run the show and the new recruit to tell you how they're going to launch their business. And that's a big mistake. And I tell them when I bring them on board, right, I'm your coach, I'm your trainer, I'm here for the good and the bad. I don't want you to just think you can't come to me when you're struggling. I think that's an important thing to say as well. But allow me to coach you. Be open to what I'm suggesting you to do, because I've seen the proven results from it. So I'm asking you to trust me for like your first couple months and really just roll with me and allow me to lead you. So that's sort of like a conversation that I have with, in a nutshell, a conversation I have with all of my new recruits, because I really am going to coach them step by step, guide them, and I want them to be open to that. So that would be my first thing. And then in regards to retention otherwise, I would go back to the reward and recognize those behaviors that you want repeated. Make sure that with your frontline, you're really paying attention to their behaviors and their actions, and you're recognizing and encouraging those behaviors that you know are going to produce the good results. And then also, of course, goal setting and using resources to identify people that you can work with, you know, like people that are consistently putting in their 500 PRV, like those are people that obviously you can work with. But people that's like, oh, it's $60 here and then like $30 here, so clearly they're just like maybe doing like scent and warmer of the month. You know, talk to them about club. Club is a great way to work on retention and to help people have some consistency in their PRV and get to that minimum every month, so they're gonna not even have to worry about being active because they're active every month just on club alone. So really those would be my tips. Reward and recognize the things you want repeated, focus on club with them, and then also it really starts right from the very beginning. Make sure that you're goal setting with people from the very beginning. Small goals, immediately able to receive goals. You're welcome. All right, y'all. Well, I guess I am gonna wrap it up. I don't see any other questions since my little man is awake and raging over here. Is there anything else anybody wants to share before we wrap it up?